Coming up on Naperville News 17, District 203 weighs in on arming teachers. The Naperville Women's Club brews up a special night out, and you'll be blown away by these special pumpkins. Hello everyone, I'm Kim Pierce. Thanks for joining us for this week's Naperville News. The subject of arming teachers came up once again at the District 203 School Board meeting. The group was presented with the Illinois Association of School Boards 2019 resolution proposals. The first on the list is a student safety resolution, which was presented last year as well. It would allow school employees the option of carrying a legal concealed firearm on district property. The board and a few community members spoke about their strong opposition to the resolution. The same stance 203 took in 2018.
The state shouldn't expose kids unnecessarily to any tool of violence. Adding guns into the circulation will always put kids at risk, and the state should universally adopt the position to not arm school district employees.
The group agreed to draft a statement explaining why they don't support it, which will be presented at the IASB Delegate Assembly this November.
Because I think that our district is a large district, we're leaders, and we would want to ensure that our opposition was well known and that we're able to defeat this resolution as we did last year.
The board will vote on which member will represent the district and read their opposition statement at their next meeting. And at that same meeting, the school board discussed updates to District 203's suicide prevention program. Naperville News 17's Christine Lena has the details.
Awareness and education, intervention, and postvention are the key components to District 203's suicide prevention program.
Data in the state of Illinois indicates that students are less likely to report suicidal thoughts, but have the same rate of planning and a higher rate of suicide attempts when compared to students nationally, making prevention extremely important for us.
Dr. Igo gave a presentation about the program and highlighted some updated procedures taking place in schools today. Those include universally screening students for suicide risk and depression, gatekeeper training for students and staff about warning signs and protective factors, and district-wide protocols for intervening with at-risk students.
We had lots of schools who were doing these things, and they all had their own system, and that system kind of stayed within the school. So what this really allowed us to do was to get extremely centralized, and this is exactly how we're going to respond, and this is where the information is, and this is how we share it, and this is how we make sure we don't miss anybody.
While these procedures are already being implemented, there are some still in the works that fall under the postvention area of suicide prevention.
The final area of suicide prevention is postvention, which refers to all the programs, activities, and trainings which reduce risk and promote healing after a suicide death.
Establishing a postvention feedback loop to debrief parents, staff, and students after a death, giving additional resources to the social-emotional curriculum, and adding more specialized crisis training for school-based mental health professionals are the next updates to be made to the program. As administration reviews the updates, they'll be implemented throughout the next 2 years. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Christine Lena.
A referendum asking voters whether the DuPage County Recorder of Deeds office should be merged into the DuPage County Clerk's office could be on the March 2020 ballot. The DuPage County Board was set to vote on the matter at their October 8th meeting, but an error in the wording of the documentation caused them to postpone their decision until their November 12th meeting. The idea to eliminate the recorder's office has been around for a while, but board member Liz Chaplin has proposed putting the question to voters on the March 2020 ballot. Other board members think the November 2020 ballot would be a better choice to allow time for a cost-saving study and to potentially have more voters weighing in. When a Naperville senior tripped over a parking bumper, she decided to bring the issue up at a city council meeting. Naperville News 17's Casey Krajewski has more.
Bev Patterson-Fryer was planning on attending Mayor Steve Chirico's State of the City speech earlier this year.
However, getting out of the car and walking around to the front of the car, I tripped over a tire bumper.
Fryer was taken to the hospital in an ambulance and received 27 stitches for her injury. At the October 1st City Council meeting, Fryer called for the city to look into parking bollards as a substitute for bumpers.
The biggest difference is the bollard does not present the trip hazard potential that the parking bumper does. Even though they're painted, some people may not see them, or they just don't pick their feet up enough, and we have seen some trip and falls as a result of the parking bumpers as opposed to the bollards.
The city couldn't force existing parking bumpers to be removed, but they could ban future developments from using them.
The bumpers, I think, have just traditionally been used for decades, and they're readily available, and basically you can just procure one. You sledgehammer a couple of pieces of rebar down the holes and you're in place, whereas a bollard you have to drill a hole or excavate a hole, put it in place, pour some concrete, so the parking bumper is much easier to install than the bollard.
At the October 1st council meeting, Fire Department Bureau Chief Jim Kabinski said Naperville paramedics receive more than 1,000 calls per year for shortfalls like Fryers, though he couldn't say how many are caused by parking bumpers. Both the police and fire chiefs support looking into this issue. For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
Naperville City staff is currently studying bumpers versus bollards and will report their findings at a future council meeting. After the break, detecting dementia made easier thanks to a local high school senior.
Welcome back to the game show, Who Is It? Today our contestant Sally is in the process of figuring out which one of our panelists is the real Crime Stopper. Sally, you have one more question for each panelist, then you will need to decide.
Number 1, when I call Crime Stoppers with a tip, do I need to leave my name?
Absolutely not. You remain anonymous.
Number 2, if my tip leads to an arrest, what's in it for me?
A cash reward for up to $1,000 for one thing.
And number 3, what is the Crime Stoppers tip line?
630-420-6006.
So who is it? Oh, sorry, time's up. Sally, we need your decision. Who's the real Crime Stopper?
They all are.
You're right, but how did you know?
'Cause I'm a Crime Stopper too.
I thought the interview was great. It helped increase exposure for my center in Naperville. It helped increase my exposure within my company. And above all, it was just great to talk to Liz about education, and we both share a similar passion about it.
DuPage County is starting an opioid fatality review team. It's made possible thanks to funding from a $1.1 million Federal Bureau of Justice Assistance grant. The team will focus on finding common factors in opioid overdose deaths and determining what factors contribute to opioid abuse. About 20% of the grant funds will be used for the team. The rest will help provide medication-assisted treatment to help jail detainees addicted to opioids. The KidsMatter Volunteer Fair has been matching students with volunteer opportunities for 17 years. This year's fair featured 30 local organizations at the Fort Hill Activity Center. Local nonprofits like Gigi's Playhouse were joined by national organizations like Ronald McDonald House Charities, giving a wide range of nonprofits for the roughly 400 prospective volunteers to choose from.
We have multiple different organizations with multiple different array of volunteer opportunities, so it's really something for everyone.
The fair was open to youth from elementary school age through college. It's one of KidsMatter's many strategies to get kids more involved in volunteerism.
It's because it kind of promotes a life skill that helps them later in life so they can do better, be more successful, and give back as adults.
Martinez said giving back is one of KidsMatter's 40 developmental assets kids need to achieve success. Career and Networking Center's Kim White has a new book that's all about helping graduates transition into their careers. Adulting Made Easier, Navigating from Campus to Career, is co-authored by Barbara Schultz, a Vice President of Human Resources, and Gerald O'Connor, a financial advisor.
It was a combination of both where do you feel like you have your expertise and what is really kind of sparks it for you that you have an interest in. And so the combination of those things really kind of drove who was going to write what.
Right.
The three combined their talents to write the paperback aimed at today's youth and their parents. It acts as a guideline for helping them talk about career paths together.
Know your kid and have the talk and make sure you know where it is your kid wants to land and help your kid to get to that point. Whether it's, again, college, trade school, or going straight into a work environment.
The book also discusses interviewing, networking, and financing for young adults to keep in mind as they navigate post-high school life. It's now available for purchase on Amazon. The authors have hopes that one day their book could also land in stores. Around 50 million people worldwide suffer from dementia. A Naperville teen may have found a way to tell if someone is at risk of developing the disease. Our own Christian Canizal has the story.
At just 18 years old, Patrick Santel's resume is impressive. He's a volunteer, a cross-country runner, and he's no slouch in school, scoring a 36 on his ACT. But he's on the brink of something that just might top all of his previous accomplishments.
Over the past year or so, I've been working on an application called Refocus, and the main goal of this application is to be able to detect dementia in a more effective manner.
Refocus has 3 test games that can potentially tell if a person has or might be in risk of developing dementia. Focus Meter, where a person stares at a center dot for a minute, a memory game, and a minute-long math quiz.
What's important is early detection. The earlier you're able to detect, the more measures that you can take to make sure that it doesn't grow to the aspect where it's completely affecting your life.
The illness is something Santel is unfortunately all too familiar with. His grandma suffered from dementia and passed away a couple of years ago.
She's been like the inspiration behind why I started like the entire process, whether it be just starting from like the training exercises alone to what I've tried to develop now.
And that's making eye track testing for dementia a little bit easier. By using the front camera of your smartphone, you can use Refocus. Though it's only available right now for iPhones, Santel hopes when its app officially launches, you could also use Android devices.
I'm definitely really happy that I was able to do something that for people like my grandma who were affected by the same exact disorder.
For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
And to add to Santel's resume, Refocus has qualified for the Congressional App Challenge. Up next, our biggest story of the day, just in time for Halloween.
Introducing Game On Episode 9, Sitcom Showdown.
Hi, I'm Amanda Kunzer, and I am team captain for Team Primetime. Team Primetime is going to win because we've all had a lot of insomnia and we've watched a lot of TV. So, who's the winner?
Hi, I'm Jackie Claremont, and I am the captain of Team Late Night. I think Team Late Night is definitely going to win because we're fun, we're cute, we're very competitive, and it's just going to happen for us that night. So come on out.
Join us at Center Stage Theater for a night of competition and laughs on November 7th. For details, visit our website and let's game on.
A Naperville man's hobby could be a helping hand for those in need. Naperville News 17's Christian Canizal has his story.
From the outside, Powers Construction Group looks like a regular business building. But take one step inside, and it's anything but. Greeting you is an unusual cast of heads, from the Terminator to C-3PO and even some dinosaur heads. Though different in every sense, all the heads have one thing in common. They're all 3D printed by Michael Powers.
Probably about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, I got into it only because I like technology. This is all open source. Somebody's already created it. I've modified it. That's all. And it turned out quite well.
Powers' curiosity led him to buy a second 3D printer, which allowed him to create more than just heads.
The hands, for children who've got no hands. If a child's hand has muscles in here, it would go up inside here. This is a strap system here. It straps on the hand. And as they bend this downward, this hand closes. So, I mean, this is $40. A prosthetic that is more electronic is $40,000. So it's a couple dollars cheaper.
Powers hopes to keep learning about 3D prosthetics so he can volunteer at Enable, an organization who specializes in low-cost prosthetics. Littered throughout the office are an abundance of 3D printed objects, from robots to even larger scale dinosaurs. Most of Powers' designs were printed in this small room, where Powers is crafting his latest creation, the InMove robot.
There's about 400 pieces to this robot. The person who designed this robot says as long as you have a print bed no bigger than or no smaller than 5 inches by 5 inches, you can print this entire robot.
Though there's no estimate on when the robot will be complete, Powers can work around the clock with the help of live cameras and smart controls.
I'm a type of person that don't tell me it can't be done. Nothing's impossible. A lot of people are afraid. I'm not afraid.
3D printing for in and out of this world. For Naperville News 17, I'm Christian Canizal.
Once Powers' robot is up and running, he plans to have it function as a card holder for his business. Magic was in the air at Naper Settlement for an enchanting evening of charity. Our own Christine Lena was there for the fun.
Witches in white, purple, green, and black had their broomsticks in hand as they cast spells across Naper Settlement for Witches' Night Out.
Well, I love Halloween, always have, and did just kind of put something together. Most of it's out of my closet, so got a new hat this year. That was the main thing.
And I love Bette Midler, and I have a great sense of humor, and that's why I thought this would be a great costume.
Nearly 700 sorcerers came out for the Naperville Women's Club's 3rd annual event. They enjoyed psychic readings, raffles, and even a witch's bazaar.
I look forward to this event every year. I love the community. I love being out with a bunch of other women who are dressed up and just out to have a good time in this wonderful environment at Naper Settlement. And it's raising money for a great cause, and so it's really one of my favorite things to do every year.
The fantastical fun was all for a good cause, supporting the club's mission of women helping women.
And our focus charity is Mutual Ground, and they help women and their families in the domestic violence situations, and they give them skills and steps to take to get out of that kind of a situation. And then we also have probably 10 to 15 other local charities that we still give to as well.
A magical evening with meaning. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Christine Lena.
And if you'd like to learn more about Witches' Night Out's focus charity, Mutual Ground, you can check out their website. A DuPage County man is pumped up about pumpkins. Our own Casey Krajewski has this gigantic story.
Joe Adkins' passion for pumpkins stems from carving them as a child. But as an adult, he realized the larger the pumpkin, the larger the canvas he can carve on.
Started off as a kid, always had a pretty much an obsession with carving pumpkins. That turned into, from jack-o'-lanterns into what Big Macs, which are about 100 pounds. And then I heard about these Atlantic giant varieties, so we ended up getting involved in this so that we could carve them.
The Wheaton man is constantly studying up on how to grow his gourds bigger and heavier. This year, his largest pumpkin topped out at 1,258 pounds, the heaviest pumpkin grown in Illinois in 2019. Even more impressive, this was a down year for the 4-time defending state champion. His heaviest pumpkin ever came in 2016, when a massive 1,861-pounder sprouted out of his garden. Moving something that big takes a helping hand.
The guy from Wheaton Mulch, Scott, he drives down here, and we lasso it up with a pumpkin ring and lift it up and put it on a skid, and then he just picks it up and sticks it on the rental truck.
Adkins usually starts carving his giants in mid-October. He says he sees a face in every pumpkin and is simply uncovering them. He's already started prepping his patch for next year. Though planting season isn't until April, it's important to collect seeds that will become next year's crop. The right seed can cost up to $200. He's hoping one of those seeds will help him accomplish his next goal.
2,000 pounds, of course. I've been shooting for 2,000 pounds now for the last couple of years.
Adkins uses his winnings from the weigh-in to buy candy for trick-or-treaters, which means he's carving out fun the whole neighborhood can enjoy. For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
Adkins does his best to keep his pumpkins organic, but does spray them to keep them safe from bugs. Unfortunately, that means no giant pumpkin pie. Coming up, Fresh Air Fridays, courtesy of the DuPage Forest Preserve.
Give the gift of downtown Naperville. Treat someone special to a great shopping, dining, or spa experience with downtown Naperville gift cards. Good at more than 150 businesses. Purchase them at 4 convenient locations or online and have them mailed directly to the lucky recipients. Best of all, there's no purchasing fee. Just choose an amount and send. It's that easy. The perfect gift for anyone at any time.
Hi, I'm Allie Coletta, host of Naperville Sports Weekly. Each week, you can catch some incredible plays on NSW. Now it's time for this season's first Play of the Month, and you get to vote. It's really easy to do. Just go to nctv17.com and click on the Vote Now button. Watch the previous Play of the Week winners. Then vote for your favorite as the Play of the Month. You can vote as many times as you want on multiple devices, and the winner will be announced October 10th. So support your team and your school. Good luck to all our athletes, and thanks to Innovative Dental Partners for sponsoring this competition.
I was hoping to get people from offices to come out here, because when I worked in an office, I would have loved if there was like a guided event that I could have done during my lunch hour.
And so Fresh Air Friday was born. Jill Spielman has been volunteering here at St. James Farm since 2013. Her vision to get out from behind the blue glow of her screen has led to the creation of this DuPage Forest Preserve program.
I sit at a desk all day and type away, and it's great to get out here and look at something else, look far away and see things, and walk and stretch our legs, and that's what's special about it. I also, when I give this walk, I'm going to be talking about breathing and a couple things about mindfulness.
As Spielman leads a handful of people, she truly does often hit the pause button to make sure those around her remember to stay in the moment.
Oh, it was amazing, and I love the little, sayings that she stopped and reminded us to breathe and stay in the moment instead of, even while she was talking, I was worried. My mind keeps wandering on that. She was talking about a dialogue that keeps going through your head, and I wish it wouldn't, but it does. And then I didn't know if I missed something, but she kept bringing us back to the day.
Pat Carlson is one of the participants exploring the 600 acres that St. James has to offer. Trees, historical landmarks, and wildlife are often mentioned as the group progresses along the trail.
I learned about what wood ducks were and about the history of St. James Farm and the McCormick family, and that there was a house there and the prairie path goes through here.
Invited by a friend, Margaret Buckles agreed to come out and enjoy the fresh air on this Friday. Unplugging from the regimen and grind of daily life was a major draw.
So often we get booked on our calendar and say, what's next, what's next, what's next? And it's nice just to relax and breathe and take in the fresh air. And what a beautiful trail. It's so well maintained.
I just like to be outside, and I go to the Morton Arboretum a lot and Botanic Garden. And actually my husband's working on a horticultural degree. So we like to go to forest preserves and go on walks.
And one of the best parts of it all, it's Friday and it gets you ready for the weekend.
We get out here, we walk as a group. Thankfully the sun's coming out now, and it's just a great thing to go back and face the rest of the afternoon, and then great way to slide into the weekend.
But first, a slide through the forest, a perfect chance to slide that phone into your pocket and keep it there. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Kevin Jackman.
And if you have an idea for a sports story feature, you can let us know at newstips@nctv17.com. The glass pumpkin patch at the Morton Arboretum is a fall favorite every year. And visitors got the treat of learning how these glass gourds are created. More than 6,000 glass pumpkins sit on display at the Arboretum. And glass blowers add to that number every 30 minutes or so through live demonstrations.
The support we get from the patrons of the Morton Arboretum is probably the greatest gift as an artist, to come here, to know that you're supported and respected, and the response to our work is just phenomenal.
Visitors gathered round and observed artists rolling heated glass in frit which gives color to the design.
Rolling in vanilla.
Pressing the glass into a mold and spinning it to maintain symmetry are other important techniques. But the grand finale is wrapping the stem.
I guess if I had a signature style, it would be the stem and also the jewel tone colors, from the purples and burgundies to the topazes to the apricots. And yeah, and the thing is that it just gives us a great opportunity to try so many different colors.
The final product then cools down overnight and is added to the shelves the next day, turning glass blowers into pumpkin growers. The Glass Pumpkin Patch runs from October 9th through 13th. And that's what's happening right here in your neighborhood, Naperville. We'll see you next week. Until then, you can catch up on local news by signing up for our NCTV 17 news update, delivered right to your inbox Monday through Friday. Sign-up information is right on our website, nctv17.com.
This week's Naperville News 17 is brought to you in part by the following sponsors. This program is partially funded by a grant from the City of Naperville.